We are here. Congratulations. I'm glad you made it through the week, and I'm glad you're here right now. It's a great thing. It's a great thing. Be happy that you're here.
Made it through the week?
I don't know. Who cares? I mean, who knows what happens during the week? I don't pay attention to people's lives.
It's been a fun week.
Yeah?
Not fun. Not so much fun, but just I've been doing like those daily vlog things. So like trying to create content for it.
Yeah.
Like, to make it not just me waking up and going to work. It kind of pushes me to be a little bit more productive. So yeah.
Okay, not bad.
How about you? How's you going? I
me,
see you're walking in. You walked in.
Oh man, I walked in on crutches. Yeah,
again.
It happens almost every 3-4 weeks. I swear to God, I think it does. I don't know what's going on in my life. I'm getting old, guys. I'm getting really old. So that's right. If you guys want to help me out, send money to THS. No, but hey, maybe they can pay for my my leg, like Tommy has his whole back thing.
Yeah.
You know,
we'll get back into that a little bit.
Like I have a bionic leg, man.
Hey
Help
everybody!
Me,
hey, so let's see who's in the chat today. We got Edward Sanchez, Mikey Perez, Johnny Marrero, Sir Megaman Burr, Heal Life, Thomas Franco, Anna Miles. It's been a while since we've seen Anna Miles.
Shout out to you, Anna.
Bat Tusi Knight, Blackwing, Layla, Green Racer, Megan Hines, and Matt. I think that's Matthew Thompson.
Is he still Blackwing when Joe's not here? Or are we gonna call him Ratwing still?
Oh, what is this? We got a super chat right away. Anthony Davis, the 2 eyebrows.
The 2 eyebrow bandit.
Guys, you are looking at a proud owner of a PS4, and I'm already playing Spider-Man. It is awesome. I feel like a superhero playing this. That game is great.
Okay, well, get on the THS hashtaggers and tell us your PSN name.
Yeah, exactly.
So this way we'll add you on. We'll make it a big party. Judge is gonna make sure we can get Friday the 13th going on.
Yeah, we haven't joined. You haven't joined that.
I haven't. I will. I made sure that when they were giving it free on PSN, I was like, yes, make sure I download it now so it's in my library so I can. But I will. I will. I just, I need to get an external hard drive.
Oh.
I do, because I'm already looking at it like, I just don't want to see that thing where it says, can't download, too much space. I'm like, and then toss it out.
Well, that's great for you, Anthony Davis. Definitely add us. And then also use that PS share thing where you can share like all your fun moments on THS Hashtaggers.
I do that a lot.
If you guys aren't part of THS Hashtaggers, join it because it is cool. There's some fun conversations. There's a few conversations in there that I fight so hard not to jump in because I feel like no,
So true.
You're just
so
like let
true.
me just sit back and just eat the popcorn. But I really do want to jump in.
My new thing is I'm jumping in as much as possible.
Oh my gosh!
I have taken the moniker of Petty God. I am literally like that's it for me now.
What is the thing that you also wanted to be? You want to be the Charlemagne?
Charlemagne of just every geek pop culture. So that's why I'm going to be the purveyor of petty. So anytime something happens, you can look to me, Teddy Pettygrass, and I will lay it down.
And I will be right there, just enjoying.
There you go. There you go. It's like, oh well, time for another flame war, and I'm just going to insult people for no reason. So don't worry about it. Don't take it seriously. I don't mean it. I just like to have fun with you guys.
Yeah. Thanks again. Thanks again, Anthony Davis. I hope you're having a good day. Congratulations on that PS4. It's a great system.
And also, thank you for showing the people exactly what happens when you use Super Chat. Super Chat's a great tool, and it helps us because you guys see everyone's typing something. Yeah. We're all trying to pay attention to it, but it goes way too quick.
Especially Saturdays.
To slow it down, almost like the Matrix, just go ahead and hit us with a Super Chat, and everything slows down.
Yep.
We'll even do the take a shot in the leg. We don't care.
Thank you so much for that, dude. Yeah. So let's get right into it. So me and Joe had the opportunity at New York to meet Adi Shankar, and I had
friend of the show.
Yeah, I honestly I didn't know what to expect. That guy is a freaking serious dude. Like,
Adi is
scary. He's scary.
Adi is eccentric. That's one way to say it. But the thing is, it's because he loves and he's dedicated to his work, and so much so that he understands that there's a persona. And he has to make sure that he perpetuates that persona.
Yes.
So that's what he does. So you'll see Adi, and I'm wearing the makeup and blah, blah, and when he talks to you, he's really, like, awkward and everything. But once he just chill, he becomes somewhat of a different person.
Yeah,
somewhat.
and him and Joe are really close. Like, he loves Joe.
Well, because Adi loves wrestling. Adi loves Power Rangers. Adi loves comics. Adi just loves everything that Joe loves.
You know what?
So they're, like...
We should just make him a cast member here, just like have him stay on the show.
You know what? I mean,
he's like, hey, Ed, are you doing anything?
No. What we should do is like, hey, Adi, what are you doing? All right, cool. We're gonna shoot at your place.
Yeah.
And then just show up. His place is really nice. And it would be great for us to show up. And he's like, oh, guys, I wasn't ready. Okay, all right, move out the way, Adi. We gotta set this up. All right, let's go. Action. Let's see what he does.
That would be dope. So yeah, like Joe talked to him like it was for a good like hour and a half or so. Like, it was a long. They're talking about everything, and from wrestling to like Spawn and Venom, so many different things. But one thing that you guys would be interested in is when Joe brought up the whole topic about if he saw the 2017 movie and what he thought. So
and we got some of his opinions.
Yeah, we definitely.
There's an article out.
Yeah, so if you guys check out thspowerners.com, there's also an article on that #show.com that's it tells you exactly what Adi Shankar is talking about. But so he initially, he didn't. Like, his whole thing that he didn't want to shit on anybody else's projects and what they worked on, but he definitely did not think that going about the origin story was the right approach. Mm-hmm. How do you feel about that?
I agree with him. The whole thing, and they didn't let him go far enough in the article, or at least in the quote, because the thing is, he points out, well, when he says the whole thing about the origin, I've heard his argument about it, where he says, why does the origin? Spider-Man worked out well. And it was like, dang, you got a point.
Exactly.
Like,
Spider-Man,
first, every time he used to say it before Spider-Man came out, he used to say it then, like, and this isn't great, blah, blah. And I used to look at him like, you know what you're talking about. This is the guy that produced so many other movies and blah blah yada yada. He produced what I consider one of the best works of Power Rangers ever to exist, which is that bootleg.
And then James
Van Der
Beek in
it. I still look at him when he says the whole thing about the origin thing until he brought up Spider-Man. I was like, bah, you know what you're talking about.
I mean, these characters are iconic as it is, like just their names, and like Joe was telling him that Power Rangers is so it's not like a series that died off in the 90s and then came back that you need to reboot it and like reintroduce fans to this stuff. Like, no, it's been going 25 years.
Exactly,
25 years.
Shows have been going. There have been conventions, etc., etc. So
introduction on Netflix. Like, I have a coworker, and she has two little boys. They're like 2 and 3. They started they're on. What series are they on right now? On Ninja Storm.
Right.
They're on Ninja Storm. So like the start of Disney, but they started from MMPR and just have been binge watching in order. My coworker asked me to write down the order.
Oh, okay.
So they've been watching in order, and it's like, wow, it's like since I gave you that list, it's only been 3 months, and you've went from Mighty Morphin all the way to Ninja Storm. It's like, yeah, my kids can't get enough of it. They can't get enough of it.
They're going quicker than I am with doing the retro and everything. Like they're going crazy with
super fast.
I gotta say, I'm enjoying the whole look back through it all, as far as like the retro stuff and et cetera. Because like I'm watching it and my daughter's getting introduced because she's there. She's there sometimes while I'm watching, and now she's like, oh yeah, this is good. Oh, this is great. Oh yeah, I like this.
I was talking to Elle this afternoon. She Zio, she loves Zio.
Yeah. Oh, well, because she hated the parts of MMPR. Yeah. And then she was, when it came to Alien Raiders? Wow.
She hated it? Or
wow. There were things she just didn't want to even say on air. She was like, my gosh. I'm just going to keep quiet when you guys talk about this. And it was like, okay, I understand.
Oh, my gosh.
So, Adi's whole point was, one, the origin.
Yes.
How he says, well, there's no reason for it. And then second, he said the whole teenagers with attitude. That was an important part that I thought in the article, where he points out that, okay, there doesn't need to be a whole thing about teenagers with attitude because that was just a misnomer. It was something you just kind of said.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, they weren't kids with attitude. They were model citizens, man.
No, they didn't. I mean, they got sent off. 3 of these got sent off to some peace conference.
Come on.
It's like, oh, you're a teenager with attitude? Really? Like, I've seen those memes where,
attitude?
I've seen those memes where, like, Alpha, find teenagers with attitude. And then he's got the NWA right there.
Yeah, right.
He's like, yeah, that's kind of exactly what we expected.
Well, guys, there's a room outside.
It's like, we have blasters. Can we trade your guns for those blasters?
Yeah, they're like, nah, man. Oh, okay, all right, well, that's fine. Like, what I'm going to do? But in that case, I feel that Adi Shankar is right. Mm-hmm. He does know the franchise. He's a fan. The bootleg universe was amazing. At first, when I read that article, I did say, wait, you're kind of contradicting yourself at first. Mm-hmm. But then even my daughter pointed out to me where she was like, no, he's not. Because the thing is, when he makes his speech about the whole teenagers with attitude, think about it. that's when they were teenagers and they were nice and they were good and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But as the Machine Empire takes over in his bootleg universe, things change and it becomes they're getting older. Now they're becoming jaded. Yeah, and then now they have to deal with all this stuff.
And then they're realizing like, hey, this guy's kind of like, using us for his own personal gain.
Definitely.
Oh, we got a super chat from Bat2C Knight. What series would you have used instead of MMPR?
For what?
As far as making a movie.
Make a movie?
No, like I'm totally fine. I'm totally fine with starting it off with MMPR.
Yeah.
But look at like you said, Spider-Man. Look at Batman v Superman, where they introduce Batman to this universe with. I mean, honestly, they could have taken out that whole death scene with Martha and Thomas.
Oh yeah, they could have.
Yeah, honestly, like people already. Batman is such an iconic character that you don't really need to. Just keep shoving this origin down.
Yes, the thing is, it's like this is time that we're wasting by giving us an origin. Why give me an origin when everybody else already knows it? Exactly. So now let's assume that you already know it, and let's continue on from there. That's a great idea, and it kind of allows the writer to expand as far as focus more on world building because now you already know. And that's a great idea. Yeah. And that's why I don't disagree with Adi Shankar at all. I completely agree with him, and I think they need to give him and Joseph Kahn money to actually make a real film for me, so I can be happy about it.
It's definitely exactly.
I'm sorry I do. Yeah. And if I'm saying it too much, let me know.
And I mean, like you could have approached it the way that he did in his film, where like flashbacks.
Dude, that was so good.
Yeah. Maybe like if I were to imagine it, it'd be like. Oh, it's the Power Rangers fighting a specific monster, and we do flashbacks exactly like they do in the Boom comics. Like the way that they're tackling some of these stories, it's great. Like you go back, so like I'm imagining like the Power Rangers, like it starts off the Power Rangers are protecting the world, and then I don't know, they're fighting Goldar, and Goldar's just kicking their ass, and it's like you just see like. Jason gets hit in slow motion. He's just like, and it do like flashbacks,
right? And that's the thing. It makes so much sense because it's like, and I gotta say this for Boom Studios, and same thing with Adi. These are fans that appreciate it to an extent, and they are willing to expand on it. And Kyle Higgins wasn't a fan until he actually read up and got information from fans.
Yes.
And then he was like, great, that's info I'll use, that's info I'll use, that's info I'll use. And I'll make it better, I'll make it bigger. And that's exactly what he did. And that's a great thing because the power of the fans is what makes everything change. Yeah. And that's something that we here at the Hashtag Show definitely believe in. In fact, so much so that what we want you guys to do is be able to send us just a little kind of
how would you have tackled creating this 2017 movie? How would you have started it? How would you have wanted that to be? Because you want that to be the kickoff point to for a new movie franchise.
Exactly.
Especially for Hasbro. How would you, if Hasbro were to do a reboot? How would you guys want to see it? How would you want the story to go? Would you honestly, you don't have to go. You don't have to go with MMPR.
No, you don't have, and that's one of the other things. It's like, so choose your team, choose an enemy or villain, anyone you want, and kind of give us just a brief kind of breakdown, an idea of what you would like to see as far as in a Power Rangers kind of film. Let us know and send it over to THS at thathashtagshow.com. And the thing is, all that you send in, we will be able to review and we will publish on THS at thathashtagshow.com. We'll be able to post it on thathashtagshow.com, the website. So you'll be a published writer.
Yes,
and that's a great thing for you. Awesome. You guys kind of break out of your shell and start to get used to writing. Maybe you'll come back and write some more things. We'd love to know as much as what your opinion is because you're the fans. You got a mouthpiece. And we're here to make sure that we can be your megaphone.
Do you like fan fiction?
Oh, I do at moments. At moments, if it's
if it makes sense.
If it's not heavy-handed in any way for particular things. For example, when it's anime and manga, blah, blah, etc., it becomes too heavy-handed on the sexual aspect or the relationship aspect sometimes, and it misses out on the story and character development. I want more story. I want more character development. That's what I want. Delve deep into the character in a way that no one else thought of. That's what makes it good fan fiction. Anything else is just what everyone else has already written.
And I know Adi Shankar, I mean, even in recent months, he's on Twitter, like everybody's been sending him hate over his Star Wars comments.
Gosh.
I mean, honestly, it's his opinion.
Dude, and that's the great thing about it. It's his opinion. I'm so shocked that fans are upset and attacking another fan.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
he's a fan. Like, he's a
opinion.
legit fan.
Yeah.
He's definitely a legit fan. And, like, so moving on to the next...
So they want to know what film, if it wasn't Mighty Morphin, what would you have chosen?
Oh, okay.
If it wasn't Mighty Morphin, Mighty Morphin, what would I have chosen? Right now, I am really falling in love with Zio, but
well, I had said that I would still go with so I said that I would still go with Mighty Morphin, but from a different approach. But if it wasn't Mighty Morphin, what story would I go with?
Space. Lots of space.
Space, or
I think that's a great one. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, you already know the origins of MMPR, but this is one that we could focus on a lot more. I would love that. So I think that would be interesting, seeing in Space has Ambrose, right?
Yeah.
And everything, and then the Death of Zordon, blah, blah, blah. I would love that.
Yeah, only based on like the graphic novel we read this week, I would totally go with SPD too. Like, I do like the cop feel, the whole whole so like kind of like a Minority Report type thing, you know. I would enjoy it.
Like
and then in that way you can go back, like look through archives of, in past Rangers and certain things. Maybe can have some of these Rangers could have direct connections to the past, I think that would be a cool idea that I could see happening. Definitely, especially in today's like the climate of today's movies. I think that would be, if you want to take Power Rangers and try to like extend that out to like more general audiences,
What if, for example, let's say we keep what happened in MMPR, that Lionsgate film. We say that's canon and it happens. The next one we do is SPD. And then for a third one, we do Hyperforce. And it's a time travel thing. So now you get the answers of what happened to the MMPR people and why did we jump to the SPD.
Yeah.
And then why are those two important for what's happening sometime in the future. And do a whole story concerning all of that. And that would be dope. These people get to make appearances for not too much screen time, but yet they're there.
Yeah.
And then we'll continue on with that. Say some big war happened, we'll be able to cover it.
Especially with the Lionsgate film, you saw like little bits and pieces that they're trying to build a universe.
Yeah.
They're trying to like, oh, in this Earth there's a Zeo crystal here, there's a Zeo crystal here, different Earths.
That's right.
And then even with Zordon's original team, everybody was different. Like everyone was a different species or a different. You had the Yellow Ranger who I think she was an Aquitar Ranger. An Aquitarian, I think she was. That's what she looked like. So yeah, like if even just little things like that, where you're not kind of like held down by these 5 original teenagers. If you can have like a bunch of different races and a bunch of different aliens, that would be cool.
Yeah, it kind of leaves it open like that.
Yeah.
And, so ultimately, when it comes down to it, I would like to see something different. Keep what we did get. I'm not saying it was an error. It was good for us.
Yeah,
it was something to learn from.
Yeah, going off of your space, and that would be a great story as far as like just having it just be a space story.
Yeah,
and then like throwing Power Ranger stuff in there too.
And
it makes it more accessible to a bigger audience.
That's right.
I think the reason why the 2017 movie failed is a lot of people were under the impression like, oh, it's just a kid show. Let's not put too much money behind it, or like let's not take a chance on it. But as like if it wasn't Power Rangers, I think it was still a decent film. Like it had its flaws. It definitely had its flaws. The characters were probably not really their characters, and it took too long to get them into their suits. But it was a solid film.
It was
a solid film.
It was. I appreciate it as a whole. And if you guys really take the time to watch it and critically kind of review it, you'll see that actually, it was a pretty solid film.
Yeah. So moving on to the next part of news, Joe had followed up that question as far as him asking what he thought about the 2017 film, and he asked him, how would he approach with Hasbro being backing it now? How would he approach a sequel to that film? So this is interesting because with Hasbro, they have so many different properties, and building universes as far as like movies is the big thing. Like Marvel has done. They built this universe for 10 years, and it's worked out for them. And oh, we got another super chat. Woo! Anthony Davis with 2 eyebrows says a Lost Galaxy Quasar Saber backstory. Sounds nice. That would be cool.
I like that.
You know what, Anthony Davis? If you have more ideas on that, write that up and send it over to us, and we'll read it. It's
right over there at ths.hashtagshow.com. You go ahead and write it up. You send it out to us. Trust me, we'll read it. We'll probably even discuss some of it on air, but it's definitely going to get published. So go ahead and write it down. Send it out to us.
Yes, definitely.
It's
Even Universal earlier on, like last year or so, they tried to build a dark universe, and it kind of failed. World building is key for a lot of these movie franchises. To succeed, especially now. We got a bunch of reboots, we got a bunch of sequels, we got if like these if these companies want to like keep going, if they're gonna, everybody wants to follow the Marvel way of doing it.
Well, Marvel comes out with what we consider a blueprint, and people said, well, it works, so let's continue to run with it.
Ooh, like this, this Shattered Grid, like he talks about Shattered Grid. Yeah. But check out this awesome shirt. This is the stuff that I love, because it's like I love really good mashups, and that's what we do now anyway. Yeah. So this one makes sense. Since we're this is we have a few mashups like. You guys should be super excited because we have a few lined up, and we're timing it out. We can't. We're not just gonna throw it all at you right away.
No, it's too much to consume.
Yeah. So we've had the Once a Ranger, which is this Justice League, the Fast and Furious, which is Turbo, Mad Max. We had the RPM, of course, the Pirates of the Caribbean. A lot of people like the Pirates of the Caribbean Megaforce one. It
looks so good, man.
Yeah, but I mean, even though like Megaforce wasn't a very like. It was, a lot of people didn't like the show. They are looking at it as Gokaiger versus
that's what a lot of people
Gokaiger
do.
is great in Power Rangers in Space, and of course our new shirt, the Shattered Grid Infinity War shirt, which makes total sense. Like everything makes total sense. Draken is
Oh yeah, everybody's placement makes sense according to their analog where it is in Marvel, and that's what makes it great. It's a shirt that I definitely suggest getting, and if you're not interested in that one, you can get any of the shirts that you see on that hashtag show. On TeePublic.
Yes.
Provided by us.
And if it's not, if it's not a shirt, I actually ordered that Shattered Grid on a hoodie. So that's gonna be coming in on a hoodie.
That's dope.
Hoodies. They got tank tops. They got phone cases. Joe has the phone case.
Yep.
Tons of different things on TeePublic.
You can't actually get a print. You can
exactly. You can put it up. They have tons of designs too. We sponsor a bunch of like independent artists. Definitely. So you guys check out TeePublic because they got sales going on like every few weeks.
Yeah.
And that pays for shipping, and it really helps out. And we love seeing you guys in your gear. So send them over. Tag us in your pictures of you wearing your favorite shirt or your favorite that hashtag show shirt. And we'll if they tweet at us, we'll retweet it.
Yeah, you tweet it. Trust me, we'll go ahead and interact with you immediately, and we'll go ahead and retweet it, or use it on Instagram. Either one of the two. Just make sure to @mention us.
Yep. So going back to how Adi Shankar would handle the Hasbro universe. All right, so it's a little wordy because Adi Shankar he's a talker. So I'm gonna describe it to you. So he goes, So I would lean into Shattered Grid. All right. You open up with the idea of a multiverse, and the Rangers, of course, use Zords, and he's saying that the Zords are vessels, so they upload their consciousness into these vessels.
Oh, okay, all right.
So what he was describing is that these Zords are an early form of Transformers. Like they're like, so they upload their consciousness into these Zords, and that's what they use them for. Okay, so he goes.
So I can already see
he's building this whole multiverse really, and then he goes so what if the Zords are from another planet, and they come from a planet, and the planet is called Cybertron.
Okay. And he's connecting everything.
Everything. Okay. He connects everything, and then he goes on to say that so they're really like devices where the Power Rangers can upload their consciousness into a cloud, and then the cloud is in the robot.
Yeah.
So then he goes on to say so he's leaning into that Shattered Grid thing, and then he goes to the point where the Pacific Rim idea where there's monsters and kaijus and things terrorizing the planet.
Right.
So there's a force, like a military force that's trying to stop this, but that is of course G.I. Joe.
Yes.
So there's a military force that's trying to stop it, but then they realize there's been word of like a bunch of kids with access to this technology that can combat these kaiju, these big monster beasts. So pretty much, he goes on to talk about like he's kind of how he's describing like the ultimate Spider-Man comic and like how he's just connecting it all together. What do you think?
Question.
Yes.
Did he include Ninja Turtles?
Huh? Hasbro doesn't have Ninja Turtles.
No, they don't.
No.
Oh my God, I'm thinking of. Okay, never mind. I was like, wait.
Yeah, he didn't.
That's right.
He was about to talk about My Little Pony.
Okay.
And then I don't think he knew too much about it, but yeah, he was about to try to
But
incorporate.
then I said
then
that's good.
There are these talking colorful ponies,
Yes.
and it's really awesome. So yeah, I think that's a really cool idea. I mean,
very smart.
honestly, I thought that's what they're. I thought that's what they were doing initially with like Sector 7 in the Transformer films, a militant group of the best of the best, like pulling from all branches of the military and creating this thing to combat these Decepticons.
Well, it would have had to be Sigma 6.
Yeah.
Because that's G.I. Joe. So it would have had to be Sigma 6, and then from there they would have been.
Yeah. I think that would be cool.
Pretty good. One, I'm gonna say bravo, Adi. Just like out of nowhere, you come up with this, and it's just like okay. And then after that, what I would do, it's like man, that's a lot of plotting, planning, and he put it together well.
Yes,
that's the thing. And
that was just off the top of his head.
That's what I'm saying.
There's like during the interview, like he'd stop and like, well, I would he was thinking about it. He was definitely thinking about it. And so he put a lot of thought into it. So I definitely think that if Hasbro wants to take this in a totally different direction, I say go for it and hit up Adi Shankar. I know he's not a big favorite for other fandom fans, other fandoms, but you gotta shoot your shot.
If you don't, then you don't know what's gonna happen. Yeah. And the thing is, we want something new. Like I said, we were talking about this before. And it's a phrase I've been saying a lot lately, which is fandoms are fickle, fandoms are fragile. And the thing is with them, you give them something because they're always like, I want something new. Give me something new. All I want is something new. You give them something new and they're like, oh, what is this? Give me the old stuff.
Yeah.
What? I don't get it. And then the thing is, by doing that, and if you even question them and say, you guys don't know what you want, so I'm going to do whatever I want.
Yeah.
If you say that, then all of a sudden, here comes the fragile portion now. We're not fans of this at all anymore. And you're like, great. So now I've just lost
It's
hard to get that balance.
Is there a movie franchise or like a comic book or superhero movie franchise out there that caters to the fans, but also you think that is also grabbing new fans? Is there a franchise that does that work?
Not even a franchise, it's a fandom. I mean, you can just
Marvel, definitely. Marvel.
Exactly, but we were saying earlier, I feel anime, manga, they do that all day. They do that all day. They give you something new and they give you that info and then they make their change. Sentai, I feel the same way. If you really want to think about it, original Sentai, it's always that way. Where it's like, okay, we're going to give you something, but here's a little bit of fan service and here's something that's going to actually change. Yeah. In the same way. It's like Q-Ranger. The whole way through, think about that. Here's something new. Here goes something we're going to change. So now we're getting new people and we're satisfying the old.
Yeah. So I honestly I'm on board with his idea. I think it's great, and I think that if there's some way that he could link up with even Boom Studios, Boom,
he should. Yeah. He should. I mean, dude, I feel that Adi should be writing a comic. I also feel that he should be heading a film.
Well, from talking to him though, he seems like he's a really busy guy. So he's got to find the time.
Sure. Well, I mean, hey, maybe sometimes the time, other times it could be the amount of the check.
Yes, but speaking of Boom Comics and Boom Studios, we had a chance to read the recently released Soul of the Dragon. It's funny too. Because. It's funny too because after at New York Comic Con 2017, Joe asked Jason David Frank, as he asked all Power Rangers, where do you see your character in today's universe?
Right.
And then he goes on about it. He goes on and saying, you know what? He says it very quickly, and I didn't think much of it. He goes, maybe within the next year we'll find out. he says it very quickly. Obviously,
Dude, okay, this is the thing about JDF. JDF is a genius when it comes to that stuff. He usually knows a lot of stuff because people are always approaching him for something. So he already knew this was in the works, and it seems like the story has been going on, like they've been trying to create it for about more than 2 years, it feels like, in some ways. But they had to know exactly where they were going to go with it, and so he knew. I think at that moment he was just like, we'll see.
Yeah.
It feels like with JDF, when you ask him questions, always take note. Always take note because somehow it will play through.
Because he knows that he can't release too much information, but him and Joe are pretty good friends, so that he wants to throw him a bone and see if Joe picks up on it. So when the news when the leaked news, or not leaked news, that came out that they're working on Soul of the Dragon, I was like, holy crap. It makes sense now. So we wait when they announced it, and then the screen captures of some of the artwork, to now we finally got to read it. Super excited. Honestly, it kind of creeped up on me because I had no idea it was coming out. So but we got a chance to read it, and overall, what did you think of it?
It was good. It was good. I actually cried at the end. No joke. Cried at the end.
Really?
Yeah, man. For a bigger reason, when we get to it, I'll tell you at the end. I had a whole thing I had to write down and think about.
So just so you know, we're gonna be talking about this comic for the next few minutes. We're definitely gonna be spoiling some stuff. So if you guys don't want to hear any spoilers, or if you want to go into it reading, if you want to start reading it and be surprised, mute us right now. But we'll give you gestures and we'll let you know when to come back in. Yeah. But let's get into this. What were some of your favorite things about this comic?
I got answers.
Graphic novel.
No. I got answers.
Yes.
And that was one of the best things for me. I wanted to know what was happening to particular people, and they addressed it immediately. Like, every person, I was like, well, okay, the Zordon wave happened. What happens to this person?
Yes.
With that person? Also, what's going on with Tommy?
Yes.
And, if he's been a Ranger for so many times, how is it that he's not? And then, they answer that. Yep. They answer this. They answer that. I was like, I loved it. Every bit of it was like, yo, they really took time. And this is Kyle Higgins' last story.
Yes, oh my God. Writing. And it makes me realize how much I miss Kyle Higgins.
Dude.
Right?
Because he's so intricate in the way he does things. He makes sure that what he writes dovetails with whatever else he's going to write. And then also it's just breadcrumbs the whole way through.
Exactly.
So, and I just love his writing style. He likes to delve into the character. It's always a character study when he writes.
Yes.
And that's why it was great to see this.
Also, if you remember the 25th anniversary, there was they mentioned JJ. They mentioned him in JJ, you left your bike out, or you even got glimpses of him and Kat being together. So this is technically canon. This is canon. This is something we could expect to see in the near future in Power Rangers towards the SPD universe. So SPD, we get to see a lot of different references to a bunch of different Power Ranger teams. But this SPD is here. We're in the SPD world.
That's right.
They are kind of like the world police as far as monitoring and handling some of these there's not too much evil going on around, but these little crimes and little things that they have to deal with. SPD is in charge, so they are well equipped. They have the Power Ranger technology. And Sky is in charge.
Sky.
Yes.
My goodness.
Look at this. Look at
Sky.
The freaking building is goes beyond.
Right?
It kind of looks like the Watchtower from Justice League,
Now, you tell me that Sky doesn't kind of look like a young Ray Liotta.
Ray Liotta. Okay.
Doesn't look like Ray Liotta.
Okay. He still actually right here. He still looks pretty young. He looks a little battered.
He's war torn and war tattered, and that's what I liked about it too. Because it's yo, trust me, I've been dealing with this a lot. I go through a lot of work. I've been here. I do want. Because the way they make references with Tommy and Sky, they met with each other, they worked with each other and everything. There's somewhere to go with that. Yes. And I would love to know. I would love to be there for their first meeting, their first side-by-side fight and battle. I would love that stuff.
I feel like Tommy is kind of like a advisor a little bit, an advisor, because he's been around so long. But yeah, this graphic novel is definitely kind of it's a lot like Old Man Logan.
what it is, it's Old Man Logan. Let me see, because I was like, oh, there it goes. It's Old Man Logan mixed with kind of a Iron Man 3 and a dash of Taken.
Okay.
That's how I had to really think about it, because Iron Man 3 wasn't really Iron Man. It was, like Joe always says, it was Tony Stark Part 1. You know, Tony Stark Action Hero Part 1. This is what we got. We got Tommy, and we know that the whole thing is, it doesn't matter, and that's why I say also a dash of Homecoming, only because of that speech where Iron Man gives to Peter Parker, and he tells him, if you aren't you without the suit, then why are you even doing this? Like, you know, that whole thing. And it's pretty much, Tommy walks it like he talks it, man.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, I don't need the suit to be this bad A.
He's still fucking bad. It's like that scene in the bar where, I mean, he does get a little over his head. But,
yeah, true.
Yeah, but you know, it still works out for him in the end. Like I was saying, a lot of the things, like he partners up with a classmate or a friend of his son.
Yeah.
Because she lets him know. I mean, it all starts because the son's not really telling him the truth.
Well, and the thing is, no one was telling him the truth, because Sky knew it as well.
Yeah.
The whole thing. Well, you know, spoilers, guys. Pretty much, his son's missing. Tries to figure out what's going on. He asks everyone about it, and no one's giving him the straight truth. They're saying, well, he's gone. He's gone.
Yes.
First you think he's kidnapped. Yeah. Then it's kind of like, well, he left. What do you mean he left? We're trying to get him back.
Yeah.
And that was it.
So he's actually undercover, and he's kind of infiltrate this gang, you know.
Man.
Yeah.
Dude.
And this suit. What did you think about this suit?
Come on, yes, about that suit. That suit is dope.
Honestly, that suit looks like it could be part of like the Lionsgate 2017. Like,
yes, it does.
It has that.
And I think that's what they did it for.
Really?
I think that's what they did it for. Just kind of dropping it to let us know, like, hey, if you had ideas or you wanted to know what it could look like, here it is.
And then the whole like duo, like him and JJ's friend, I kind of got like a little bit of a bright kind of feel with with Will Smith.
Oh, you think so? As far as
like human and alien, or he was an ogre, but
no, but I get it. It's a human with something else, some other sentient, species that isn't.
And they're doing a mission. This, like, honestly, I could see this as a Netflix film. Like,
oh, definitely.
Yeah.
The whole thing, but I think it should be like a miniseries.
Yeah.
And it should break down into 3 episodes, not 5. 3 episodes, and they can make them. Each episode will be about an hour.
Even if it's just on YouTube, I know Jason David Frank is huge fans with the guys over at Bad in the Sun.
Oh yeah, man. Question.
What?
So, we know that he's married to Kat.
Yes.
But now that we've seen everything play out with him and Kat, and we know what happened with him and Kimberly, who do you think was better suited for him? Was it Kimberly, or was it Kat?
I think Kat.
Okay.
Yeah,
and why do you think Kat?
I just think that they, like, with Tommy and Kimberly, it was they're kids, they're young, it was a whole physical thing, and when you're younger, when you meet your girlfriend at the time, you think that's it. This is the thing. But I think Kat wasn't really what he was looking for in a way, but then. She turned into that support that he needed, especially in this comic. She knows him so well.
She does.
She knows
but that's
him
the thing.
well.
I mean, if you're married and you're faithfully married, blah blah, etc., you're gonna grow to know your partner.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if we swapped her out for Kim, and it's all the whole opposites attract in a way, would it have continued to go on?
It would have been an interesting story, but I feel like especially the Kat and Tommy part of this graphic novel is such a small part.
It is a very small part.
It's
but the
importance of it is where does he go from here? Because at the beginning of the story, he's retiring, he's leaving the school. Like, I guess funding hasn't been great.
Reefside.
Yeah, hasn't been great for archaeology.
Yeah.
So
well,
it's
as Elle says, he's not a real doctor.
He's not a real doctor. Okay, all right. So Sam Neill wasn't a real doctor.
No. Those people aren't real doctors.
Yeah.
So no.
Okay.
Elle says it. I'm gonna believe her.
She's like his way back into just being Tommy.
Very true.
So I don't.
She keeps him grounded. And
do you think like not being Dr. Oliver, not being Tommy is gonna like kind of mess up his marriage a little bit. Like he feels like, who am I? Like what's my identity now? You know?
I thought about that for a moment, but the thing is, seeing in those subtle moments when they were together, and the things that she said, it like even when I'm watching this, you can see how intently he pays attention to her. Mm-hmm. Like every word she says is important to him.
Yes.
And so with that, he knows how important she is to him. She keeps him grounded. She's his rock, etc., etc. So I think that this was great on its own, and it does help him realize who he is. Mm-hmm. And it's all of that. I'm Tommy Oliver. I'm a Power Ranger. I'm a father. Mm-hmm. I'm a husband.
Yes.
I am all of these things, and I wear these hats at different moments, but the thing is, I never take any of them really off. They're all still on the whole time. And that's where we're getting.
Yep.
And I love
this is interesting.
Oh, before we go into that,
yes.
I gotta say, there were a lot of little bits and Easter eggs in this.
Okay.
Like, the thing is when Kat was riding with him, and she says, oh, like, the Vorak soldiers are rebelling, mm-hmm. and that's a problem that we're going to deal with in Triforia. I was like, I love that, because it was like, oh my god, Zeo references! Like, I love that. Yeah. That was so good. That was really great. Mm-hmm. And it was just like they're sprinkling and giving us a little bit of everything. Yeah. And then with that, here goes something else, because that's how Higgins does it. He dovetails. So he gives us Finster.
Yep.
He gives us Scorpina. And that was beautiful.
I mean, Tommy and Finster had a kind of a really close relationship in Shattered Grid, mm-hmm. or Draken and Tommy.
Oh yeah.
So it's nice that they're like kind of doing a callback to that, and like maybe showing that in different universes and different timelines, there's a connection between these two.
That's right.
What is the connection between these two? I thought it was great. I honestly, I was a little saddened by the when he got killed. You know, he got killed and he kind of, you know, transferred his consciousness into like another clay thing.
Yeah.
So that was cool, and I like seeing. You could definitely see in Tommy that he had a strong connection to him, mm-hmm. and he felt guilty that he brought him back into this world. You know.
Well, very true. But the thing is, ultimately, when you step out of that world, are you truly ever stepping out of it, or does some of it still exist within? And that's pretty much what it was.
Yeah.
Finster didn't have to go ahead and say, yeah, I'm going to help. But he chose to. Yeah, and because he chose to, this did happen. It's unfortunate, but that's the way things go. I love that Finster was like an established artist. Uh-huh. And it was just like, okay, no, I'm living a good life, and I'm happy with this. Yeah. But just to see him come back, I still wonder, did this Finster still kill his wife?
Ooh, I have no idea.
That's a question I do want to know, and that's something we won't know.
What comic was that from? Go-Go?
It was in Go-Go.
Okay, yeah. Well, we'll
so
see.
I wonder if that's still connected.
But I mean,
or not.
Yeah, I mean, everybody has redemption, though. You know.
Oh yeah, very true. But I just wonder. Yeah. I just wonder.
Another probably one of the other big storylines with this is JJ. JJ is huge in the story because it comes to the point where Tommy's days are numbered. Uh-huh. It's kind of the same thing when we saw Logan, where something was going on with Logan. Yeah. So Tommy's days with his morph are numbered, and he's only got a few more morphs in him.
Yeah.
And the problem that JJ is facing, just pretty much throughout his life, is that, especially being part of SPD, he has to live like he's living in the shadows of his father. Mm-hmm. He's living like he's. I don't know. I also don't know. Like maybe Kyle Higgins had pulled this from his Nightwing kind of stuff.
Oh,
because
okay.
I mean that's kind of it's kind of the same. It's kind of the same thing with Nightwing, where Nightwing is living in the shadows of this iconic superhero Batman. You know,
true.
JJ is living in the shadows of this iconic Power Ranger. I mean,
that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
I noticed that. I noticed the play off with a little bit of touches of Batman. For example, it feels like. Dark Knight Returns, where you get Tommy, who would be Bruce Wayne or old Batman, with a new Robin, which is Akara. Uh-huh. That would be it. And it's like these two going around doing these things. Yes. It felt so much
because
like
she was his sidekick.
Yes,
she was definitely his sidekick.
So much like it, and I was like, Kyle, what's going on, man? What's going on?
It's bleeding.
But it works
it's bleeding.
Well.
It's bleeding.
But the thing is, he didn't write that that story anyway, so it just happened to be.
Yeah.
And I loved it though. It was great. Bravo.
Yeah. So and maybe I missed it. So did they explain where that new crystal came from?
Ooh, No. I just remember that he was there, and he's like, and then all of a sudden he morphs up, and it was like Tommy freaked out immediately, and I was like, all right, I know what's happening. That whole building came down.
Exactly, and then they
didn't explain it.
Yeah, and we get to meet the big honcho who's in the or who's leading, and we automatically assumed. Oh, it's the witch. It's the witch.
Well, because they kept mentioning it.
Yeah.
They kept mentioning it. Oh, the witch is going to be mad.
Yes.
Oh, man, the witch is going to find out. Yep. The witch. So when she shows up.
Yep. And it's just like, kind of just like Hyperforce. She was a pretty big character in Hyperforce as well.
There you go.
It's Scorpina.
Dude, I loved it because the reveal was so subtle, but it meant so much. Because that moment where they were like, oh, and he was like, Rita, I knew it. And they go to the panel and it's just a smirk. And it was like, dang. Once that smirk showed up, I was like, no, it's not. And then sure enough, she was like, you don't remember me, Tommy? Or hey, honey. And I was like, oh my God. I loved it.
She definitely, and then she definitely came in strong.
Dude, but I do like how they said how she avoided the Zordon wave. That was very smart. By saying, oh, okay, because it was like this whole dimensional thing, and Hyperforce kind of messed with her by taking her out of the timeline and then bringing her back to it. She went to that temple, blah, blah, blah. It was genius. That was so smart.
And then just her look, she looks like, it's Scorpina. It's kind of like a mashup of Scorpina and Rita.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, it was definitely nice to have a old baddie come back.
Yeah.
It would have been cool, like maybe Gold. Well, actually no, because Goldar and Zeo, or like Goldar and Rito kind of like became this comedic thing where like the menacing side of
they lost memory, blah blah, to the explosion, but. One thing that I also did like, well, because you mentioned it, like Goldar, they didn't run with the whole Goldar is married to her in the comics, so that's why they didn't have
She's not tied down. She's not tied down by anything.
So because of that, she was able to free to do whatever she wanted to, and she was linking up with people and building her own army, and that was like, dang, that's smart. Like she was like, one thing I did notice that Rita did well was actually, bringing the masses together. Yeah. So that's exactly what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And it was like, dang, man.
Also, one of the best scenes where, like, they went to confront Rita, and it's like, oh, you came alone. It's like, no, I didn't come alone.
Yes!
I didn't come alone. And they had everybody there,
Man.
Of course, like, front and center was my boy, Blue Centurion, so,
I was going to ask you. Yeah. I was going to ask, okay. So, how happy were you?
I was super happy.
When you saw the Shadow SWAT suits.
Yeah.
First, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I saw it, and I was like, I'm already happy. And then I look, there goes the Blue Centurion. I was like, Jezzer screaming right now.
So it's like confirmation that the Blue Centurion has incorporated himself into SPD a little bit.
Yes.
Like maybe he's a beat cop or something. Or,
no way. He can't be just a beat cop. Yeah. Because the way they brought in that team. Yeah. No, these are all tactical like specialists. Yes. So I love the way he was brought in. Also, there was no way, when I really thinking about it, there was no way Rita could have shown up and been Rita, because the thing is, she was like the whatever mother.
Yeah, Mystic Force.
Mother.
Mystic Mother.
And they didn't change
so that's good.
So
it's good that they did a call back to that, or they remember that. But finally, Tommy gave up his last morph to his son for him to. It's like passing the torch. So we got to see him wear the iconic Green Ranger suit. And then he handled the day. He finished the business. It was great.
Hey, these are hands. Yes. I'm about to give them to you. Yes. And that's exactly what he did. He laid hands and just tore out everyone. And I was like, yo,
and
bravo, you
everything wrapped up perfectly. And then we got to see, like, the very last scene, we got to see not a new Ranger, but a new, like a different style of a Ranger. We got the SPD Green, right? SPD Green with the dragon shield. Yeah. So it's like, man, you know what? I'm done. I'm old. You handle your business. Here's the dragon shield. You're part of the B squad now. Yes. That's awesome. He earned his career just keeping under Sky's eyes, and he's gonna carry on the legacy. So I'm excited. I'm definitely excited. I hope we get to see more stories. I hope JJ is part of the universe now. Yeah. Because that would be cool. Because a second generation Power Ranger would be great.
Dude, man, it would be amazing. Yeah. But my thing was at the end, when it was like Tommy's last lines. Mm-hmm. Last thing he says. You have to think about this. This is the last thing he'll say in the continuity, and he says, "Friends like you and our Arana are how Rangers survive." Mm-hmm. Meaning that without them, it's always like. ultimately, we don't fight for ourselves, we fight for each other.
Yes.
We fight for a bigger cause. And that's how the whole universal kind of message for Power Rangers is. No matter what your creed, race, religion, blah, blah, whatever, we are here, we all work together, we're all accepted, we all work as a family. And that was the thing that was like, dang, out of all the things he could say for his last words, that was it. And it kind of hit me because it was like, dang, that's great, awesome. Passing on the mantle.
Oh man, that was, honestly, it was a great read after a ton of different things.
Yeah.
So, Daniel, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me at Battlestar Galactica on Instagram, on Twitter, that hashtag BSG. And for you?
Oh, you can find me on all social media at Jezzer. And be sure, you guys, we want to hear those stories.
Yes.
Email us. We want to hear, your versions of how you'd like to see it. So email us, and, you never know. You can become a writer for that hashtag.
That's it.
Join the team. Join the team.
Join the army. Send out something to us over there at THS at thathashtagshow.com. Yes. Trust me, we'll read it, and hopefully we'll be able to publish it for you guys.
You guys, thank you so much for spending your Saturdays with us. We really appreciate it. We hope you guys come back next Saturday. We're going to come back with you with the, it's Ranger Wrap-Up. Best YouTube Power Ranger Street live stream. So come back. Tell your friends about it. Share it. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe to keep up to date with everything trending in geek pop culture. Bye, guys. Good night.